There's a saying in writing, a good script can turn a bad actor into a good actor, but a great actor can't turn a bad script into a good script. That's the best way I can sum up Todd Phillips' Joker. It's a film driven solely by Joaquin Phoenix's excellent performance, and to its credit, the film might be worth checking out for Phoenix alone, because he knocks it right out of the park. But a good performance does not a good film make, and while the Joker isn't bad, it isn't good either. Its story is aimless and incoherent, its message is muddled, and much like some of Phillips' other films, all too often, it almost feels like a cheap imitation of infinitely better films. In this case, some weird mishmash of Taxi Driver, King of Comedy, and Falling Down by Joel Schumacher, you know, the director of that other Batman film. Joker is a retelling of the infamous clown king of crime's humble beginnings as Arthur Fleck, a mentally unbalanced clown for hire and would-be comedian who lives at home with his ailing mother in a crummy apartment while Gotham goes to shit. What follows is that one bad day Joker is always talking about, in this case one bad week, where a man who already has nothing loses more and more while his frail mind steadily unravels further and further to the point of utter madness. And through a mixture of bad circumstances, Arthur's mental instabilities, and societal oppression, the Joker is born. Before I get into it, I want to just emphasize the most important positive trait of this entire film. Joaquin Phoenix. No, this isn't the best Joker we've ever had, he isn't even in the top 3, but god damn is Phoenix electric in this film, giving what I genuinely believe to be the best performance I've seen out of a movie all year long. Arthur truly feels unstable without feeling like your dime a dozen psychopath. There's a real slow burn with this film, and you feel it brewing with Phoenix every step of the way. His facial tics and body language combined with his sickly fucking weight loss is enough to make you feel both sad and unnerved at the exact same time. And for all the film's many faults, watching Phoenix descend further and further over the rails is an experience that will stick with you. Arthur's quirks and overall demeanor work really well to make you just feel uncomfortable. I mean, you feel bad that this guy is the way he is and you hope that he gets help, but the more you watch him, the more you just start to think, yeah, he needs help, but I kinda want him to fuck away from me. Arthur's constant laughing comes from something being broken in his brain, and as a result, every time Arthur breaks into a fit of hysterical laughter, you never know if he's laughing or crying, but it's incredibly effective at getting under your skin all the same. Additionally, the cinematography and direction for a number of scenes deserve special mention as well. This film looks fantastic, capturing that bleak, ugly feel one should have venturing through the mean streets of pseudo-real-world Gotham. Overall, the film is expertly crafted and driven by a powerhouse performance from its lead actor. It's just a shame that it's all in service of nothing. The biggest problem out the gate is the sense that Joker is a film we've seen time and time again, but way better. At points, it's Taxi Driver, at other points, it's Falling Down, and every time stand-up comedy bits come into play, it feels like a pseudo-king of comedy. Todd Phillips has a really bad habit of aping off of classic films and giving them a gritty, ugly coat of modern paint. And it's kind of the same here, except each film he's aping off of had something its characters were building towards. Travis Bickle, who was already disturbed, becomes disillusioned by society, says fuck it, and takes what he believes to be morality into his own hands. Rupert Pupkin wants to make it big, get his 15 minutes of fame, and that's exactly what he gets in the end. Sort of. And finally, William Foster, like the Joker, had himself one bad day and just kinda lashes out, getting progressively more and more intense as shit goes on, all with the goal of seeing his ex-wife and daughter and possibly maybe offing them and offing himself. Joker doesn't feel like it's building towards anything because its story is aimless and unfocused. Things just kinda happen to Arthur, or revelations just kinda happen at random, often without any sort of real build-up, making the big payoffs for each one feel kinda unearned or too grand for something that had so little screen time dedicated towards it. To put it another way, when the first act got going, it became about waiting for the other shoe to drop for Arthur. And once that moment happened, that's when you expect shit to escalate. And while it did at points, the film is still kinda just meandering through the same motions as it did with Act 2. Only instead of getting bullied, berated, or having issues at work, Act 2 is about Arthur seeking out answers to a seemingly out-of-nowhere subplot with Thomas Wayne and occasionally delving into his failed comedy exploits. Arthur's overall descent into madness felt less like a cohesive descent and more like a bunch of shit just sort of happening. And now, boom, Joker. It didn't feel like we were going anywhere, just watching a guy have a series of disconnected meltdowns and unfortunate events, all spiraling and eventually leading into him becoming Gotham's most notorious criminal, which kind of veers into a larger issue I had with the film. While all the pieces are there, it doesn't really feel like a Joker movie. Whatever ties it has to the source material feels token at best. With Arthur's mannerisms, giggle fits, and overall psychosis, he makes for a very interesting character to watch unravel, but this could easily just be an original film. Like for real, lose the getup, which doesn't even come until the third act of the film, have the film take place anywhere else, and replace Thomas Wayne with literally any rich, out-of-touch asshole, and literally nothing is lost. That's how little this film being a Joker movie matters. For starters, it's way too monotonous. This is a Joker origin story that isn't even the least bit funny. I'm not talking Marvel MCU fun banter bullshit, but with Joker, if he himself isn't funny, you can at least expect a certain degree of comedy to come out of the situations, be it black comedy or just ha-ha funny.
Great Scott! Actually, I'm Irish.
There's a reason movies like Falling Down and King of Comedy work so well. They're thrillers, but they're both very funny still.
If a man who identifies himself as the king, cards upside down.
Where's the trigger?
It's that one right there. But aim first, man.
Okay.
Unless something is really story-rich or character-rich, your film isn't gonna stand up in just one mood. A good drama should make you laugh. A good comedy should make you cry. Joker is just relentlessly sad, gritty, and ugly. What few moments it attempts to earn a chuckle just kind of feel out of place as a result because of how damn near monotonous it is. And when a film lacking in a strong story only has one mood to hit you over the head with again and again, you just get numb to it after a while. Because you have no other moods to lend the misery any real context. Everything is shit all the time. So why am I gonna care when shit hits the already shit-smeared fan? This movie almost feels like Joker in name and name alone because that's what'll get more asses in seats. The Joker doesn't exist in a bubble. That's always been my issue with these bad guy origin movies. How they came to be the way they are isn't important. These bad guys are at their best when they're pushing others to the absolute limit. Killing Joke wouldn't have worked if it was just about Jack and his Red Hood days. It was one part of a larger story involving the Joker as the catalyst pushing all the good guys on the brink, and serviced in both Batman's and our need to understand this maniac, but the fact is we don't need to understand Joker. While not nearly as bad, it's almost like that shitty Hannibal Rising movie trying to explain how Hannibal became Hannibal, and as the infinitely better Hannibal series would eventually make clear, there's no explaining Hannibal. Just like there's no explaining Joker, and you damn sure can't make an entire film about it without someone acting as Arthur's foil, which, far as this film is concerned, no such thing exists. I'm not rooting for Arthur, and the film doesn't want me to root for Arthur. So then what's the point of all this? Watching some guy go nuts? Sure, it's visually interesting, but it's lacking in any sort of substance. In fact, there was this big stink going into the film about it glamorizing the incels and shitheels who blame society for the fact that they're just garbage human beings. Or that maybe the film glamorizes the shitheels who go nuts and start shooting people. Confused as this film may be, it doesn't do any of that. I mean, I can see why people might think that. There's a lot of really on-the-nose commentary about societal disconnect and indifference, almost calling back to what a much, much better Joker said 11 years ago.
You know what I noticed? Nobody panics when things go according to plan. Even if the plan is horrifying. If tomorrow I tell the press that, like, a gangbanger will get shot, or a truckload of soldiers will be blowing up, nobody panics. Because it's all part of the plan. But when I say that one little old mare will die, well, then everyone loses their minds.
In this case, it's the way society doesn't give a shit about people like Arthur. And if someone like him dropped dead, nobody would bat an eye, but because a few rich assholes, emphasis on assholes, bite the bullet, an entire movement starts, splintering the already divided Gotham between the disenfranchised and the wealthy elite. The thing is, the film rides that fine line in a way that makes whatever commentary it wants to make feel almost cringy, including an actual fucking monologue at the very end, which felt incredibly out of place for a film that was so surprisingly sparse on dialogue. But as I said, while there's shades of that shit, Joker doesn't paint Arthur as a guy who has the world figured out. Arthur is unstable, and his problems aren't societal. They're because of a very specific few people. His mistreatment is just a straw that broke the frail camel's back, but the film also doesn't glamorize Arthur's increasing violence either. Yeah, his first kills, you're probably thinking, fuck yeah, for about a split second until it keeps going. Then you just feel dirty. This isn't the hero. This isn't the film saying that Arthur is a good person or that he's right. The film is very decisively saying that no, bad as society can be, we're responsible for our own actions. Arthur being the way he is may have been because of circumstances out of his control, and society failing to seek out and help people like Arthur is a tragedy that we see happening to this very day, but Arthur's crimes are his and his alone. So anyone saying that this movie is glamorizing mass murderers or incentivizing more violence is completely missing the point. I mean, it's easy to see why they would, given that Arthur is the central focus of the film, but the actions before and after that moment paint a very different story. Joker isn't controversial, it isn't dangerous, and it isn't a mistake. It's just aimless and confused. The end result is a film that's engaging almost entirely because of just how fucking incredible Joaquin Phoenix's performance is, and just how great the film looks and feels on a surface level. But unlike the Joker himself, this Joker is ambiguous and vague in all the wrong ways. But to even call Joker a comic book film would feel disingenuous since, as I said, it's damn near Joker in name and name alone. That can be a good thing since it means, like, say, Logan, you don't need to be a Batman fan or a comic book movie fan to appreciate Joker as a movie. You can just appreciate it as its own thing. But unlike Logan, its own thing is just kinda lacking. It had great ideas, and Phoenix can be a truly incredible Joker if this performance is anything to go off of. This film gets all the mileage it can out of him, and he does manage to carry my attention from start to finish. But once the credits rolled, I just felt indifferent. Not invigorated in any way, not eager to gush with my friends about what we just saw, and damn sure not in any hurry to rewatch your fucking real comic book movie, Todd. And so my final rating for Joker is a 6 out of 10. To call Joker a bad movie would be hyperbole. It is well made, professionally restrained on dialogue, and is helmed by what I believe to be the best performance you'll see this year. It's exactly what you think it is. If you saw the trailer and loved it, you'll probably love this movie. If you're someone like me who hates Todd Phillips and is iffy about the idea of an unnecessary villain origin movie, then Joker probably won't win you over. But if you're at least curious, then check it out. I cannot understate enough how goddamn excellent Joaquin Phoenix truly is in this movie. But if my only reason to ever revisit moments of this film on YouTube is one performance, then what does that say about this film itself? That without Joaquin Phoenix, Joker is a nothing of a movie. A joke without a punchline. And yes, I know that statement is unoriginal, but you know what? At least I didn't remake Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and make it infinitely worse.